Hello and welcome, humans. My name's Zach. Here brings what I've been thinking about, sharing about, talking about, listening to, reading about that doesn't belong to math class. If you're new to the channel, I invite you to subscribe. Damn. When I'm trying to multitask, I never get the intro right. But yeah, it's to make you the goodest version of yourself, as well as it's not going to be on the standardized test. So in the recent days, I've been talking with actually a couple of different people, sort of about overcoming challenges that they're dealing with in life. I know there's a lot of people that have been recently in the chat that have been there for a lot of it. Hey, Gemma. And there's various different things that I've discussed. One with Catherine the other day on my other channel. Recently in the chat that have been there for. Recently, I was talking with Gemma today on the Zachary Watson channel, but I just wanted to talk about just a couple of strategies. So I still haven't really revealed there's stuff going on with me, but I'll be sharing it soon. And hello on Instagram. One of the things that I've been doing recently is rather than sort of dwelling on some of the challenges of life and saying like, oh, this sucks, like I'm pissed off, I'm angry, I'm anxious, I'm X, Y, and Z. One of the things I've been really trying to do is focus on where I want to go, because I forget what it was. I forget. It's like if you're driving or something like that, people have the tendency that if they're looking at like the edge of something, they actually end up turning the wheel a little bit towards it. Now, this is like a very physical example of it, but when you start trying to avoid things, you're staring at them, you're focusing on them. Oftentimes, you kind of physically turn the wheel towards them. So one of the things I recommended to my friend Gemma, as well as some other people, including myself, was thinking about where do we want to go rather than what do we not want in our lives. So one of the things that I've been doing, I haven't quite seen the kind of crazy magical rewards of it yet. But in a Tim Ferriss podcast, he was talking with someone, and I've heard this in multiple places, is that when he does goal setting, instead of doing sort of the traditional goal setting, like I want to accomplish this by this date, he does it sort of backwards. One of the things that he does is he tries to, he goes, so today is July 19th, 2018. What he would do is he would open up his journal as if it were July 19th, 2028. So 10 years in advance. And what he does is he writes down a date, like what a journal entry would be like as if it were that day. So he says, so looking at me right now, like I'm in a house with my wife, no kids yet, not making much any money on YouTube, working as a teacher. So say one of the things I wanted to do was be financially free and working on my PhD or something, right? So the way I would start dealing with that and start doing the process, the activity, is going into my journal, saying July 19, 2028, saying, I just picked up the kids from daycare today, and me and my wife are hanging out by the pool and eating dinner with the kids. One of our kids just started walking yesterday. We're really excited because last month was the last month that we had to work to pay off our bills, and now we're able to do it passively. We're really excited about this prospect, so now we can afford to do some traveling. So what we've just done is gone all the way into the future, 10 years, and painted a picture of specifically what things look like. Now, like I said, I haven't reaped the rewards of this yet, but this is one of the things that I've been trying to do recently when I'm trying to sort of manifest something in my life. So the interview I did with Catherine on YouTube the other day, she's from Australia. Her channel is Wi-Fi Lifestylers. And what she's really trying to do is cultivate passive income and find a way that she can run a business from wherever there's Wi-Fi. So I love the concept of that because it frees up your time and it frees up a lot of the things you can do. Because if you realize it, most of our jobs probably wouldn't be that bad if we were doing it remotely. A lot of people that dislike their jobs, I'm sure, still wouldn't like them necessarily, but it wouldn't be nearly as bad if they were like if they were just doing it remotely. Let me just pause for a second and go into the chat. Still awake, I can't sleep. Hey, Sleep Master. Hey, Kaylee. No, Gemma, thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing for me in particular. You're welcome, Gemma. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's kind of funny. I was looking at my stats the other day. Like I never look at the money on YouTube, but I was noticing there's a giant spike from when you sent me 10 pounds last week too. So thank you so much. You're currently my highest donator. So thank you. I'm glad that you get a lot out of our talks together. Oh, hey. So I invited Ty on to talk a little bit about, we haven't talked in a little bit, but he knows some of the struggles I'm going through. But so Ty, I was just sharing about one of the goal setting techniques that I've been working on recently. And by the way, people on Instagram, Ty is with us, but I think you'll still be able to hear the volume of it. So I was talking about how I go 10 years in advance to do a journal entry as if it's literally 10 years in advance. And then I just like journal about how my day went, sort of talking about what I've accomplished, etc. So I was saying that one of the challenges I've been having recently, it's really easy to get stuck in the past and the challenges I've been going through instead of what I want. So some of the, I don't know what you've been dealing with lately, but as a human being, I'm sure there's something. Is there anything you'd want to share that you've been dealing with and or how you've been dealing with it? Wait a second, I can't hear you. Camera mute, that's not it. Wait for it. No, that's not it. Try talking again. Oh, now I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, it's probably my headphones. So,
all right, so go ahead. So yeah, what's maybe something that you've been dealing with, and or how have you been dealing with it?
Something I've been dealing with lately. Well, I think like a week or two ago, I had a realization that I didn't want to be a public speaker again. I mean, a public speaker anymore. Obviously, like I still want to speak and stuff, but I don't think, personally, I don't think I want to like make public speaking my profession or something that I focus all my attention towards. But public speaking will be something that's always a part of what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be solely surrounded around what I do. So lately I've been just doing a lot of reevaluating because it was kind of very discouraging to have that thought like, oh, shoot, like I don't really want to do this anymore. I've been doing a lot of work on it and doing a lot of research, and it's just something I don't want to do. I mean, like I said, I do want to speak, of course. Like any opportunity I get to speak, I'll go and do it. But I'm not gonna not make it like a career out of it or anything. So that was one struggle, was just having to deal with my discouragement and stuff. And then recently I got injured. I was at the gym.
You cut yourself, right, on the leg?
Yeah, I was at the gym and I was doing box jumps and I slipped off the box jump and I got a pretty deep cut. It was all the way down to my bone. So I had to get it.
All right, you can't talk about that too much. I'm very squeamish and I've fainted before we can talk about blood.
All right. So, but anyways, I got a bone bruise and all of that. So that set me back physically from basketball training and stuff like that for almost a month now.
And for those that don't know, so Ty plays on his college team, Framingham State, Massachusetts. So I mean, basketball is pretty important. And by the way, he's also 6'4", 6'5",
6'3".
We're a couple of giants if you stand next to us.
Yeah.
Just trying to draw a picture for them all. I
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
being really thrown off the first time I met you. I was like, "Oh, damn!" Like,
Yeah, I
I love
remember being
giving
thrown off when I saw
people.
you too.
I love giving tall people hugs.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just totally interrupted you. But yeah, so I can imagine that would be wicked frustrating, like injuring yourself and then like you're on the team and then actually having to pause that because of the injury.
Yeah, so that was very discouraging because I was getting into a point where I was building a lot of momentum and I was getting better in the areas I was looking to get better in. I was getting, um, my legs were coming back and I was getting more athletic, and then it just all went away as soon as that happened. So I was like, oh my gosh, and like I could barely walk and everything. It was really bad. But I'm getting back there. My wounds all healed up, and now I just got to get the strength back in my legs. But
By the way,
yeah,
Ty, someone had a question for you, which I think you're probably going to answer anyway, but I'll point you in that direction. What changed your mind about not making public speaking your career?
um, I don't know. I think from the recent interviews I've been doing, the one question I've been asking, like towards the end of all the interviews I've been doing, is if you could drop everything right now and do one thing,
Yeah.
what would it be? And I really sat down and thought about that. And I was like, could I give up everything and just do strictly speaking? And I was like,
Mm.
I don't think I could, and I went through like a few months where I was just trying to prepare speeches, trying to get gigs and stuff like that. And I was like, I kind of don't like this. I mean, it kind of took the joy out of speaking itself, whereas it was more organic where I got invited from someone
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh yeah, I can go speak for you and speak about a certain topic they wanted me to speak about. And I can just, speak my mind, share my opinion on that. And then, I don't know, it just, uh, Gary Vee popped into my head too, is like, you can be doing something for 3 to 4 years and then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to try to find something new.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's what I decided to do is I think I'm going to try and find something new. And the past few days, I've been coming up with some awesome ideas. I'm like, I think I could do this. I think I could do this. And it obviously, like, I'm going to be continuing to speak about what I speak here on YouTube. If I get in, when I get invited to speaking engagements, that's what I'm going to speak about. But
But you're not going to go after it like to try to do it like full time and stuff.
yeah, and believe it or not, you're the first person I'm telling this,
Yeah.
but and everyone who's watching. But I want to, leverage the things I speak about on YouTube into making my own company. And right now, I don't really know how I'm going to do it. But when I said that in my mind, I was like, that is something I would love to do.
What service or value would you want your company to bring to the world?
Well, we would obviously be giving a product, and our product would be the different programs we have. Whereas it's a separate program where you're looking to build self confidence, or you're looking to get over your fears. You're looking to build confidence. You're looking for new ways how to change your habits. And in my mind, I was looking at this like sort of like network marketing, whereas you can buy the product what we have, which is these mindset building courses, and you could also become a coach, whereas or like an affiliate, you become a coach and you can start coaching others on your own, selling products on your own. You can have people join your team. You can have them become coaches and stuff like that.
So it would be similar mindset work that you're pretty much always talking about, and it would
Right.
come in the form of like physical program courses and or coaching.
Right. It was just a rough idea that I that I thought about. But yeah,
That sounds
when
good.
I thought about that, I was like, that sounds interesting. So I'll give it a try and see where it goes.
It's kind of funny is I was doing a very so this is the journal I was writing today. I'm not going to share everything that I wrote in here. I might have to skim through a little bit, but I was doing something sort of similar, which you'd said. I think it was Gary said like if you could not like if you could drop everything right now and just do like one thing, what would it be? And I was struggling. Like I was pumped this morning. I woke up at 4:30 a.m. or 4:40. I wanted to catch the sunrise on a pond in our area, and I drove over there and I brought this like giant pillow with me, and I sat there for like a little over 2 hours or something, and I think I ended up writing about like 7 pages of words in here. But one of the things that I found myself writing, first I was sort of venting. It was like I was just like writing grievances. And then at some point I started turning that into, where is it?
I like the cut, by the way.
Thank you. Oh yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see this, but right at the top there, it says July. I can't tell if you guys can see it. It says July 19th,
Yeah.
2020.
28.
So, like I had said, I started the journal entry there. And one of the things I found myself like as I was writing it, it was sort of like I felt like I was sort of navigating what I wanted, and I think I realized if I were to do no other career objective, I think what I would want to do is try to reform education. So being a teacher, I feel like I have the inside scoop on how things work. I mean, you've gone through it. I've gone through it. The majority of America has gone through it. I don't know what it's like in other cities or states, but I know Massachusetts is very standardized, test centric, and so one of the things that I said to myself is, I think if I were to create a life mission that I were to only work on that, it would be. I think the general part of it, the real goal is to elevate human consciousness, elevate um, um, that, and I think help bring down the total amount of human suffering out there. And I think the most efficient, so the engineer in me is trying to figure out the most efficient way. I feel like the most efficient way to do that would be bringing more money to education and helping to reform it. I think that if if our country was treating teachers the way they do doctors and lawyers, like getting paid six figures to be a teacher, um, and there were more of them. So it's like schools weren't trying to fire teachers because they're too expensive. Like they wanted the top level people. I think if we were doing that as a whole country, you wouldn't see nearly as many issues with people in the economy later on. Like I don't know what impacts it would have, but I'm thinking like if we had a really effective health class, like the obesity rate would go down, and then healthcare would be cheaper, and then hospital bills would be cheaper, and that like just all these things would be so much cheaper. So I think that's kind of what I discovered today, and part of it was I was sort of looking to see uh, someone one of my students from Instagram just said spent 3 hours on a lesson plan from the Gucci Gang video. Um, but I've been sort of debating. I think now that I've gone a little over a year of YouTube daily, I've
Hey,
been.
before you continue, I think you have the screen stuck on me. So
It used to automatically do that. How do you?
I think you just have to click on um, my icon,
Yeah.
and then you see how it has a white highlight around it.
Yeah.
Click it again,
There we go. Okay. Oh yeah.
and
Now
then
it's automatic.
you're
Um,
good.
thanks for the heads up on that. So part of the reason that I've been doing this sort of introspection is because um, I think a lot of my YouTube activity, I go back and forth between like, is this really good for the world? Am I really helping people? There have been a lot of great moments where I feel like I really have impacted people, and like I'm sure a lot of people in the chat might resonate with that. I know Gemma has spoken about that quite a bit. And at the same time, like, I don't know, it's sort of hard to calibrate how much impact you have, even if it is an international like spread that I get to talk with people like yesterday, Catherine in Australia, and then Gemma in the UK. So it's really sort of a flattering hobby to work on, because you get to work with people literally all around the world.
Right.
The question is, I can't tell if I'm just feeding my ego or if I'm actually helping people. So that's one of the really big struggles I've been dealing with. And I think as I was realizing education was really important to me, I think that YouTube, the goal is the same, to elevate human consciousness, and it's a different platform. It's trying to hit, it's like the right hook if education reform is the left hook. It's like the people that are going to be influenced, that are already on YouTube, that are already on all these social media platforms, the goal is to meet them where they're at. Because yes, they're already all in schools, and a lot of them are just really disenchanted with the whole thing of it. But they're not disenchanted with the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the Snapchats. So I feel like YouTube it still might be an ego trip sometimes, but it feels like a fun way to still elevate consciousness, and it has a little bit more of an immediate impact versus working on education reform and trying to get grants to have better project-based learning in certain schools, and like trying to work with government and stuff like that would just take like decades to accomplish things. It seems like. So to your questioning about like public speaking, I feel like that's been a little bit of my thing here with YouTube. I haven't quite figured it out, but I think the underlying cause of it all has been really pointed out to me, which I'm really glad I've gotten to have, which is just realizing elevating human consciousness is what I'm really interested in. And at some point, I think as long as I'm doing that, it won't matter how I'm doing it.
Right. You gotta speak to my brother and Steve, man.
I sent them an email, and they haven't. The day that they called me out when you guys were in that restaurant, I sent them an email on the spot, and they haven't contacted me back yet.
Oh dang! Gotta call them out.
Balls in their court. By the way, I don't know if you're on your phone, but feel free to if you go on to Instagram, I think we can double collaborate. We can collaborate on YouTube on the same screen. Instagram, they're just hearing your voice. But if you go on to
oh, okay.
I found this new feature. I think it's the two smiley faces together. I think you can request to like join someone's chat. I haven't done it yet because a lot of time it's my students doing it.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab my charger.
Really curious to see how it works. One of my students keeps quoting my Gucci Gang song. None of this math be new to me. I'll be doing this till my eulogy. Got some new socks, feeling hella clean. Gray hair, all to see. Actually, last year was all new to me.
So, how do we do it?
So, have you found me on Instagram? It's live right now.
Oh,
hang in there, people on YouTube. We're experimenting with technology. Some people someone will wave, and then I think there's two little smiley faces at the bottom. I think if you click that, it'll send me a request for you to jump on there.
Smiley faces.
Hey Lavore, I see you on there too.
Lavore,
you want to jump on too?
I just see emojis.
I haven't on yet. Hold on a second. Lavore, I'm gonna send you. I don't know. I don't think I have your email. Do you see the little two smiley faces at the bottom?
Oh. I sent a request.
Oh yeah. Now it waiting for Ty. I'll wait for it. It says waiting for you.
Yeah, it says connecting.
Connecting. Now, this might get super annoying, and then, so I'm gonna have to mute one of them. The question is which one to mute.
I muted the phone one.
All right, that sounds good. Oh my God, that must be super annoying. Sorry.
What's good, Zach's Instagram?
Right.
Am I live on my Instagram or just yours, right?
I'm just gonna turn my volume all the way down. Oh no, it's super annoying. Can you think of a solution for it? I guess if I put in headphones on this one, that might work, but then it would still reverberate. I don't know, we might have to ditch this. Oh, someone's saying ouch. All right, I'm thinking we'll experiment with this later. I'm gonna X you out, Ty, on Instagram.
Yeah, all right.
We'll figure that out some other time. It was a good idea. Now we know at least one issue that occurs. Holy poop! 3 people are on Instagram. That's rare. I want to bring Lavore on because I've been wanting to have him on recently. But all right, so you hurt yourself doing box jumps. Setbacks with basketball. Realize that public speaking probably not the main thing that you want to be doing. You think you still want to do business. As I had kind of said that elevating human consciousness is what I'm up to. What would you say is sort of like the underlying like mission statement below like the basis of all of it? What would you say that is for you?
Right. I think that's a lot of that is.
Wait, can't hear you again. I think you might have muted your whatever you're doing for YouTube.
You can't hear me?
Still can't hear you.
I am not sure.
Dang, this is what happens when we mess with technology.
Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you. No. Can you hear me?
How about now?
I can't hear you still. Keep playing with it. I'll let you know when I can hear you. What's a eulogy? Sleepmaster says. A eulogy is, so when you go to a funeral for somebody, a eulogy is usually sort of the speech that someone will speak during the funeral, usually about the deceased person. Let's go into the chat here for a second. Oh, shoot, I got real behind. Look up Branson, Missouri on Twitter or Google. I don't know where that came from. Whoa, way behind. Hangouts later, Tori, voice memos, helps me journal thoughts. I penned them. Voice memos helps me journal my thoughts before I go. I see what you're saying. 8 people died in a tour boat on the lake right outside my hotel. Holy crap.
Can you hear me now?
I want to become a writer. Still can't hear you, Ty. Oh, wait. Wait, try again, Ty.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that was my fault. I had muted my computer. I forgot. My bad. All right, so let me. Do you remember the question I had asked you?
Yes.
All right, it's that one now that I can hear it.
My bad. So I think for me, anyways, my mission statement is kind of always changing. At one point, I thought that I would always just be talking about mental and emotional health. And then I switched it because I'm like, you know what? I'm mainly personal development and it's not mainly emotional and mental health, but I'll speak about it here and there. So for me, anyways, my goal with everything is I break it down into 3 simple steps.
Yep.
Is to build a bulletproof mindset, develop inner peace, and help you live a life worth living. Because I had this whole long list of the why specifically the 3 reasons were, and I have to go back and find it in my phone.
Yeah.
In terms of bulletproof mindset, it's you need a bulletproof mindset to survive in this world, pretty much. Because if you have big dreams and big aspirations,
Yeah.
it's real hard to get by without having a solidified mindset that nothing can penetrate. And then that's just in a nutshell of why I added that in. And then developing inner peace is because we're always what's the one thing that that every has in common that they're looking for?
I'd say we're looking for happiness or peace.
Exactly. Exactly, happiness. So in order to find your happiness, we all need to learn how to develop our own individual inner peace because everyone's inner peace is different. And then living a life worth living, I mean, if you're just going to a job you hate every day for the rest of your life, waiting for retirement until you're old and wrinkly, like, do you think that was a life worth living? No, it definitely wasn't. You want to be able to, when you're on your deathbed, you want to be able to say, I lived my life to the fullest and I have absolutely no regrets. I did this on my own terms. I tried this, I tried that, and I did absolutely everything and anything that my mind could comprehend.
Right.
So to me, those are the three main things I live by. And overall, like how I promote myself now is helping you unlock and unleash your potential. But it's mainly bulletproof mindset, inner peace, and living life worth living. And that was the mission statement I had built before I started Thai Speaks.
Yep.
Way back when.
Yeah, and that was for those that don't know this, Ty actually had a YouTube channel before called Mass Mind Shift, right?
Right.
And it was the same underlying principles of building that bulletproof mindset. And it was originally with another person, and then you
It
took
was
it more
with
seriously,
a
right?
group of people, yeah. I
By
had
the way, Lavore, if you're still on, I just sent an email over to you to join in. Actually, shoot, Cliff, I'm gonna send you one too if you wanna jump on. Um, yeah, I think it'd be powerful if everyone were to analyze whatever it is that they put like a lot of energy into, and those things that they really like just put everything into, um, and then look to see what is that underlying principle or meaning, or like what drives it all, what causes it. I feel like so many people would just be living way more intentional lives, um, and I mean, it's inspiring hearing what you're saying. Like bulletproof mindset, I feel like that should belong on one of your t-shirts.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean I feel like I hear things about the word mindset a lot, but um, bulletproof, I feel like I don't hear that one too often or ever.
Nice. I might consider that. I didn't even think about that.
How's the merch going, by the way?
I ordered my first shirt today.
Nice.
I'm going to go to a local printing store because Custom Ink has ridiculous prices.
Hmm.
They had an option of 6 shirts for close to $300, and they were ridiculous prices. So I just ordered one shirt off there, so I can bring it to um, like a local printing place to
Yes.
give them, like, to show them an example of what I want the shirt to look like.
Interesting. Um, how much did you say it was?
For a package of 6 shirts, it
Yeah,
was close to $300.
for a package of 6. So how many? Are you saying 6 t-shirt designs?
No, no, no. One design, 6 orders.
One design. That I feel like that's expensive.
It's extremely expensive. The heck?
Wait, so you did order with them?
No. I bought one shirt, and the one shirt was $27.
Trying to think. I started building something. I think I did it with Printful. I haven't actually like followed that up since April vacation when I started, but I think I got frustrated with the process because I just didn't like the design I came up with. It's just like a purple shirt with orange writing saying "Stay Weird."
Yeah,
I still haven't been pumped up about the logo that I've come up with, so
yeah,
I feel like I'm just totally stagnant in that arena. But it would, so I was playing basketball with the shirt today. Oh, it's on the other side. So if you guys can see the owl there,
yeah.
I feel like it would look like a cool tattoo. But this is just a regular Adidas shirt. And back in like 2012 or 13, I Flex Seal spray painted this owl on with a stencil. So I've been thinking maybe I should just go back to basics on what I used to do and like make some stencils and just like spray paint all my shirts. They smell kind of funny for a bit, but if you once you wash them enough, they're fine.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be
Like
cool.
someone was like, "What the heck is on the back of your shirt?" I was like, "Oh, it's an owl I spray painted on." I don't. One of my friends just said they wanted to. Like I used to a side business that never made any money, but I had a lot of fun doing in college was we'd go to these like electronic dance music concerts and stuff. And we would just want to roll in with like a giant like crew of like 10 or to 20 people. And we just all wanted to be wearing the same thing. So like the day before the concert, I would say, all right, everybody get a white t-shirt and we're going to have a paint party. And then I'll come to my basement underneath the apartments we lived in and I would have like 5 or so stencils for that specific concert along with the other ones. So like I remember we had like a Pac-Man thing. We had the little ghosts and the I don't I guess the Pac-Man itself. We had like all these different little logos and pictures and stuff, and the owl was one of them. It was a fun non-business. I made $0. I just made a lot of friends out of it. Pretty much I said, all right, if you guys can throw me like $2 for paint just because I'm buying all the paint and just help me replenish it, that would be fantastic. And bring your own shirts.
Yeah, at least you got something. But yeah, I'll be coming out with merch when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I'll be doing a 1K giveaway, so I'll be giving away a shirt, and I have a ton of different designs. Like I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I could just start throwing like my own quote because I like, believe it or not, I have randomly come up with my own quotes in random times, and I was like, I could throw some of my quotes on there.
Yeah,
But
I feel like I've only come up with one original quote out of all the things that I find myself repeating.
yeah,
Most of the time, I'm pretty sure I'm just regurgitating other people's wisdom, but I think I have one original quote that's profound to me. I don't know if people see it the same way. It's
yeah, definitely stay weird for you.
yeah, and that's like barely original because it's all like if you look up "Stay Weird" shirts, like that's everywhere. But mine's um it's usually a response to somebody. It's like they'll say, "No, I can't." I said, "You're right, but only because you said it, not because it's the truth." Which is sort of a rewording of Henry Ford's "If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right."
All right, I like your bulletproof mindset idea. I actually might turn that into a shirt.
Yeah. Well, what if it would be kind of cool to have a logo if there were like a brain with a bulletproof vest on.
I was thinking the same thing. That's hilarious.
All right. I want to jump into this chat because I'm falling way behind. Things happen. How am I? Zach,
What?
you highlighted my name. You okay? I'm not sure what Gemma you mean by that. Great to have you here. By the way, Lavore and Cliff, I've sent both of you guys invitations to jump in. Lavore, I've never had you on here, and I've been wanting to have you. So because you're in the chat, I'm thinking jump in. Cliff, I sent you a Hangouts link via the little YouTube chat thing we got going on. And Lavore, I went over to your channel and dropped a comment on one of your more recent videos, just throwing the link in there. For anyone that followed some of the things that happened on Coach Eli and Enjoying Life Today, two other YouTubers that talk about similar material about the growth mindset, just being happy in general. Um, they're having like a huge debacle about getting a link passed over from one thing to another. Like they couldn't figure. It took them like 15 minutes to figure out how to get the link from point A to point B, and then
Right.
they ended up I don't know if I'd say accidentally, but I think the host got frustrated with trying to figure out emails, so he just put it publicly in the chat, and then someone came in and booted off Coach Eli, which is a kind of a funny scenario. I could see where he was upset by it, but
You
Zach,
could do yeet shirts.
yeet. It is really fun to say, but there are
Like
moments when I really feel like
one of these.
I'm too. Sometimes I feel like just a little bit too old to say it. Sometimes, like I feel like an imposter. I imagine my students must like just shake their head at me sometimes when they hear me say things like that.
So what?
But then again, it was homecoming last year. The only reason I started doing it is because homecoming last year, one of the student council members that was there like till the end as I was helping pick up and stuff. They said, "Mr. Watson, just give us your best, like go as deep as you can." I just said it as loud as I could, and then her and her friend, all year when I would see them in the hallway, I would just from afar, just go yeet, and then at some point I thought they started to ignore me, and then I just found out one of them was deaf in one ear, so I just kept yeeting to someone that couldn't hear me. I got sad because I thought I was getting snubbed by teenagers.
What's up, Michael? How you doing, brother?
Oh, he's here? Yeah.
Yeah. What's up,
So
Zach? What's up,
for
Ty?
those in the chat, so Lavore Insights, he's another YouTube channel. Uh, how many subscribers you have by now?
Right now 20, just 20, but I'm slowly growing. I just want to just get the videos out there to get the good content and just keep building.
Yeah, I want
And
everyone
the
in the chat to
subscribers
just
will come.
recognize you saw him when he had 20 subscribers. I think he makes some really great content. He talks about a lot of similar topics. I would say me and Ty speak about. Um, he puts some effort into them, and I think I've given him a couple of suggestions, and he's taken them, and I've been thankful that he's allowed me to contribute to him. And so I hope I
Thank you.
I hope I can bring him on and have him speak a little bit of his wisdom. So the sort of question that was on the table that I asked Ty, I think you heard it earlier. I think you actually put it in the chat, but I'd love to hear you say it verbally.
Right.
Looking at like if you were to just do one thing, like go after one sort of big idea, big thing for your life/career, what would it be? And are you sort of on that path right now?
One thing, are you talking about my theme in life, or is is it in something I'm trying to figure out? Because there's a lot of things that I'm actually doing right now.
Yeah.
But my main theme is just to always just be the best version of myself.
Yep.
Always grow and always adapt to the situation. So I think the overarching goal, the reason why I do a lot of different things, the reason why I like to be uncomfortable is at any state of my life, no matter what happens to me, if for some reason, I lose all my money, the world crumbles,
Yep.
I could still stand in life. Like
Yep.
even if I'm homeless, there's always, like, no matter where I'm at, there's always, like, I can always move up. I can always do something to improve myself. It's never, for me, it's never like there shouldn't be a reason to be depressed or sad or like to give up, because ultimately, and this may sound grim, but ultimately we all, pass away, pass on.
Right.
So while we're here in this life, it's, for me personally, just maximize myself, be as efficient as possible, and do what I'm passionate about. And part of it is, YouTube and providing just self-development tactics that help me in my life, and hopefully it helps others as well.
So I guess what I'll tweak about my question is sort of in terms of the work that you do sort of on a daily basis. So yes, you have YouTube, you're working on yourself continuously, which I think me and Ty do a lot. What do you do for work? Like, how do you support yourself right now?
Oh, right now I work for the LA County Department of Public Social Services, a government worker, and I'm a safety assistant. So in a nutshell, what I do is my line of job is, there's CalOSHA, and they're the ones who make sure that employees are safe in their workplace. So in my specific line and my team, we make sure that we follow those laws and regulations. Employees are safe in their workplace. They don't. We manage risks, but in an office setting, it's not. There's not too many risks because
Yeah.
they're not working with tools or anything. They're mainly in an office. But I'm in a department with about 14,000 employees, so there may not be any crazy things going on there, but there's little things like, oh, I have back pain because I've been sitting a lot, so or typing a lot. So those are the kind of things I manage with my team. But yeah, that's something I do to support myself too. Yeah, that's what you're asking.
If you were getting paid enough that you didn't have to do that job, would you keep doing it?
I mean, I like where I'm at right now. It's helping me support, what I love to do.
Yeah.
But if I were paid enough, I would actually want to do other things.
Like what?
Like, I guess that's a good question. I mean, right now I have I guess, all right, here we go. Hopefully for those watching, it's all gonna come out. But my plan right now, and I've been keeping it to myself for a while, but and started just a few months ago. So YouTube was kind of like the first thing that set off, and I just wanted to keep going on it. The other thing was, so I have three things going on. My three main goals, just I guess build. Part of it is figuring out how to build a brand. So YouTube is a way to build myself,
Yep.
expose myself out there to the world. The second thing is being fit, being healthy,
Yep.
because being actually exercise has helped me a lot in my life. I do my best to exercise every morning, whether it be calisthenics, yoga, or running. I'm running in a 5K. So I believe that keeps me focused, active. Because I noticed before I started doing daily exercise, after work, I would just come home and sleep. Or there's nothing wrong with that, but I felt like there was something, like some things I can tweak to maximize my day. And I always said, hey, I want to make a video or I want to do something, but days kept passing by and I never really did the things I wanted to do. So it was like that, like I said, YouTube, just wanting to start a video, that was like the first step. And then exercise was kind of the second step. And then the third part of my goal is learning Japanese, because I actually want to teach Japanese, I'm sorry, teach English in Japan. So I'm signing up for the JET program in October. So if everything goes right, I'm saving up money to and apply to the JET program, because they'll ship me out if I do get accepted July of 2019. So everything I'm doing right now is kind of building up to going to Japan and living in another country. So that's my big goal right now.
That's awesome.
Just short term, long term. Yeah. So I haven't really told a lot of people, but I don't mind sharing it with you guys and the community out there, just to let them know that whatever you have in your mind, you know, figure out ways to just get it get it done. Like whatever passion or dreams, like always ask yourself, what's the next step?
Yeah.
What can I do today to, to make it happen? You know, not everything happens, like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. You gotta build this, build the thing, build everything up slowly but surely, and figure out a plan and strategy.
Long term, baby, long term game.
Long term, yeah.
So I think, so you want to help teach Japanese. If you were to think about like what you wanted to do with your time to contribute to others, because it sounds like I think it's a lot of us. I think really go to town on working on ourselves, and I know I do that too. And I think at some point I almost get kind of bored. Like I mean, I'm a teacher on summer vacation right now, and I can only meditate, journal, and exercise and eat well so much until I'm like Netflix. And so I feel like at some point, like if I'm not contributing to someone and somehow, I just get bored. Especially like when Alyssa's not home or I can't be with her. Like,
did you say Netflix?
Yeah. So so what would you let's say that you were, say it only took 4, 5, 6 hours a day to work on all those things, and say you become fluent in Japanese, what kind of bigger cause than yourself do you think you would probably end up dedicating a lot of time to?
I think, it's a good one, because for me, if I'm not, once I've done all the things I wanted to do, like, learn Japanese, there's always something else that I want to do, like become a better swimmer. And the reason why I look into myself to look at the next big thing, because I believe it's good to, there's a lot of causes out there. I'm a big, renewable energy person. I love that kind of stuff and supporting those causes.
Yeah.
But for me personally, the way I like to contribute to the world is just to, through my actions, through doing different things, through saying, hey, you guys, because my main thing is personal development and self-development. So the best way to promote that, to share with others that they can develop themselves, is to, for me personally, to develop myself in different aspects of my life.
So, like lead by example.
Lead by example, exactly. Because I could say, oh, I'll do habitat. I mean, like I said, all these charities and organizations, they're great at what they do.
Yeah.
But sometimes people lose perspective. They say, oh, he's doing this cause and that's great. And sometimes they might not know who, I mean, they know who you are through these organizations, like, oh yeah, he believes in renewable or recycling and the environment. But to actually do something, so like let's say I'm swimming and I could say, oh, when I was swimming out in the ocean, I saw a lot of plastic bottles and cans, and to me, I was out there, and that's why I believe in, and this is just an example, being saving the environment. I'm swimming out there, and all those animals in the sea, they get caught up with those the junk, and I'm swimming out there too. So it affects me and affects the environment, and that's why I believe in that cause. So it's through action and through connecting your action through the organizations that you believe in, it brings a bigger impact. Is that do you get what I'm saying? Is that
Yeah, I think that's
something?
Yeah. Another, I guess another question. I think, I don't know if you were on when I asked this. So another question is, what is something you've dealt with recently? And you don't have to share it if you don't want to, or you can make up a fake version or something, but
No,
it's something maybe you've been dealing with lately in the pursuit of being the best version of yourself. And what kind of specific strategies have you used to go about sort of getting past that obstacle?
so for me, and I believe it's part of being a human. You know, we have our tendencies, and it's normal. You know, we always want to be our best versions of ourselves.
Mhm.
And there's another version, you know, that's wants to be lazy, that and it's human tendency to just,
Yeah.
you know, chill, relax. And it's good to be aware of that. Like, hey, there's times where I'm just, you know, scrolling on Instagram for hours, or on Facebook.
Oh my God,
But
it's such a trap when I go onto Instagram and I look that little magnifying glass.
exactly.
If I don't type in what I'm actually searching for, boom, 20 minutes gone.
Yeah.
Basketball
Zach,
highlight videos.
Zach, I think I remember that time you accidentally left your live stream on.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think I actually ended up clicking an Instagram ad, and then I ended up playing a game. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, you were on there for like 15, 20 minutes.
That video
Oh,
got
man.
demonetized because there was music playing at some point in time.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Um, so yeah, you're right. Instagram's really easy to lose time in that one. Sorry, I didn't interject there.
No, no worries. Like, and that's just an example. There's a lot of things that, and we all know what distracts us, and just being aware of that, that's the first step. And the second step for me is to, okay, um, you know, this is what makes me, you know, this is what distracts me, and being aware of that, I kind of just, it's like something in my head just snaps, like, okay, I gotta snap out of it. Like I woke up like, okay, I gotta get back to what I'm doing. So it's kind of just reminders to, okay, I've been spending this much time. Okay, now it's time to get back to what I need to do for myself. And that's something that I gotta do constantly. But
Yeah.
what's been helping me is meditation, and meditation where I'm just focusing on my breath, because that actually helps me snap out of the distractions. Because I've noticed before I even did meditation, I'd be on for an hour or two on social media.
Yeah.
But recently, lately, after practicing meditation, maybe it's about 5, 10 minutes, and I say, oh shoot, I need to get back to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So meditation is one tactic that I've been doing lately that's been helping me.
So I want to address our friend Sleep Masters saying some things in the chat, just fairly concerning, saying their family life is falling apart. So Sleep Master, I just put in the chat, like you got a team of 3 up here that we would love to help you, because that's what we're about. And you got pretty dedicated, awesome audience in the chat that I think would also be willing to help you out. There ain't questions you can think of that maybe Ty, me, or might be able to answer that could sort of help you out. I know we'd love to be there for you. I guess I'll say this. Oh snap! I've never seen this before. My Instagram, the live Instagram thing, it says 1 minute 40 seconds remaining.
Remaining?
Whoa.
See that at the top?
Wow.
I've been live for too long.
Dang.
It's on. I don't think there's anyone watching anyway. I just keep adding it to my like Instagram story. Wow, 16 people came on here and there. So what I want to say, I guess that I hope maybe this could help out Sleep Master, is what have been, and Ty, I know a bit about your family. I don't know much about yours, Mike, but have there ever been any challenges you guys have faced with your families where you felt really uncomfortable, or the relationships haven't been the support that you've wanted or needed at different times, and what have you done about those things? Because I know Sleep Master is dealing with some things. I know it came out recently to their parents, I believe it was, and they're having some tough times with that. I'm sure you guys might not be able to specifically speak to that, but I'm sure there's some family dynamic type challenges you guys must have dealt with before.
Right. So, I mean, for me, anyways, I think we all go through our own personal family issues. I think we all go through our own personal issues. And in my case, not saying you have to do this. And in my case, I found someone that, you know, I could look I could look up to and I can try to accomplish dreams with, which was my brother. And so something that me and my brother are dedicating our lives to, no matter where we end up, is building a legacy for our family, rebuilding our last name, our Hampton name, because growing up, we were always known as our father's kids, but our father was very respected, but he was respected in the hood, you know, he was respected in the areas that didn't matter. And it was sort of like our dad was holding our last name, because you know how, you know, people are always putting so much importance on your last name and how you should represent yourself.
Right.
Well,
Mhm.
that's important to me and my brother, because we came we came from nothing, and you know, we don't want to end up with nothing. So in our mind, it was, we decided that we're going to rebuild. You know, despite what happened to our family, what continues to happen with our family, we are going to rebuild and recreate and start somewhere new. You know, because if you're in a family of, you know, continuing problems that are going on, it's just going to keep happening if you keep feeding into it. So I find that it's, you know, you got to break the cycle at one point. And, you know, that's what me and my brother are doing. We're looking to rebuild our name, build a new legacy within our family, create generational wealth, of course, and where people can look at us. You know, I'm not even going to put that in because I don't even care about that. People can look at us however they want, but to give ourselves the closure enough to be like, we recreated something from a situation that was set up for us to fail. We defied the failures that were set upon us. So, I mean, that's the way I looked at it, is instead of instead of dwelling on the way our family looked at us, which was crazy, or instead of dwelling on what is happening to our family right now, we looked into the future and said, what can we do now to get to where we want to be, to build this legacy that we're seeking. And you know, we continue to grow every day, and that's what we're doing. That's me and my brother's goal. Our family plan is to rebuild our name and build a new legacy. And you know, I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but if your family is falling apart, like you're saying, the one place and the one thing you can do to start is by working on yourself. Because the more you work on yourself, the more your family members will see how much of a positive impact you are becoming, how you're able to stand up for yourself, and all that stuff. So it all comes with accepting who you are as a person, not caring what others have to say or to think about you. And that includes your parents. And I know that's hard to do. I know it's hard to do. But trust me, it's going to give you closure, and it's going to open a new path to new things. And I'm not, this goes to anyone out there watching. I'm not in your position, so I don't know what happens within your household or what happens with your family, but sometimes you got to have the courage to be able to stand up for what you believe in and for who you are. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the concept of continuing to work on ourselves and having that impact those around us, I don't know that this is applicable to the situation that Sleep Master is talking about, but I think what you just reminded me of, I think it was Jim Rohn said something like this: is if I can become 10 times better, and I become 10 times better of a friend, a spouse, partner, a teammate, etc., think about what a gift that could be to the community and the team and the partnership around me. I don't. I'm having a hard time connecting that with Sleep Masters challenges right now. Mike, anything you'd want to weigh in on about that?
Yeah, what I want to say is, I think, you know, when we're growing up, and we should always come in when there's some sort of a conflict or disagreement with our parents. Just come with the understanding that, we were all raised by our parents, and they taught us the best they can, their values, their beliefs, and then they taught it from their perspective. And so that's kind of their ammo. That's what they have. And for us, the kids growing up, we get influence from our parents, from our peers, our friends, and we're going to have a different perspective. So whenever a disagreement comes in, it's first come in knowing that, like, your parents, or my parents and myself, we're going to be different. So just coming with that understanding, um, hopefully, you've built a family relationship where there's respect, love, because that's what helps resolve conflicts. If there's anything serious, and I'm not speaking for anyone, but if there's any sort of abuse, take the appropriate steps, call the authorities, seek help. But if it's just you know verbal disagreements, just come in knowing that perspective, and come in knowing that it's okay to fight with family. It's okay to have conflict, because you're both have different perspectives. For me and my family, we had different perspectives and religious beliefs when I was about 16, 17 years old, and we'd always go back and forth. But at that time, what I'd say is I came in believing I was right. Hey, this is my belief, I'm right. But then they came in with their own, they thought their beliefs were right. So we were always kind of crossing each other. But I think years later, I think in my 20s, that's when I realized, hey, we're both have different perspectives. So, we're never going to end this fight and conflict of, our religious beliefs. So for me, I took the step to just say, hey, I respect that you believe in, what you believe in. Just know that I have my own beliefs, and, you know, you taught me well, just acknowledge that whatever, the good things that your parents taught you, for me, I was fortunate to be in a loving and loving family growing up. So they taught me respect, loyalty, fairness, all the values. So I acknowledge them for that. And eventually they acknowledge that I'm my own person. Because that's something that growing up, parents will need to realize about their kids, that they're their own kids. I mean, they're their own person, that they're gonna create their own identity and sense of self. And eventually in time, hopefully they will also let go of, this is not just my kid anymore. This is a human being, another person that needs to grow and develop. So just coming in with those perspectives, it's okay to have that conflict, and hopefully getting to that resolution that it's okay to disagree and acknowledge each other's strengths and weaknesses at the end of it.
Yeah, something I'd like to add in is I think a lot of parents out there, they really do have good intentions often. I don't know
Definitely,
that
yeah.
a lot of parents really try to bring down the confidence level of their children. Um, and I know it's hard to see sometimes, but I think if you can, and this is kind of challenging, especially when it's directly impacting you, but if you can listen to what they're saying, what they're doing, oftentimes you can kind of see what is it behind it all? What are they committed to that really is driving them to say these things? So one of my friends recently, they said to me that um, this is a female, and her father had said, all men are bad. Like, stay away from them. They're bad people. And she said, looking back on it, like that made a major disconnect in her life. Like, there are a lot of relationships she didn't end up having because she was sort of taught that men are just inherently bad. And I think if we're able to look behind what he said, and maybe you guys can say it, is that what do you think he was committed to that he would say something like that? Can you guys figure out what it is?
Say it again.
So if a father is telling his daughter, men are inherently bad by nature, like obviously he's kind of wrong. What do you think he's committed to that's like the underlying factor that he would say such a thing?
He doesn't want his little girl to get hurt.
Right. And so I think that if we can look at what our parents are saying and doing, all these things that they end up doing, I feel like really often there's a deeper level, a commitment that Ty just identified there that I think is probably driving it. So sleep master, the other thing I would invite you to take a look at, might not be there. It could be that it's hate. It could be that it's ignorance. It could be a lot of other things. It could be that they have an underlying commitment to make sure that you have a great life, or that you're accepted, or that you're loved, and what you presented them with, they might have a really hard time seeing that future still possible. I don't know specifically how your interactions with them went, but I would imagine that on some level, if you can try to look past like the words that they're saying, see if you can kind of see what's their underlying, what are they committed to that they would say something like this. My favorite story, the first time I ever, Cliff, I'm dropping you the link in the YouTube chat thing. Feel free to jump on. My favorite story about it is I was at this training. So for those of you that don't know this, I did the Landmark Forum. I've done a lot of training with it. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but I was taking this leadership course after like the normal curriculum. And the guy came up to the front room. He said, all right, who in here has an upset about puka shells? And half the class was like, what the hell are puka shells? Do you guys know what they are?
Yeah.
If you I feel like if you see someone like that's just come off a surfboard in Hawaii, they probably have puka shells. There's these little white shells that you see often in necklaces. You would see them on like someone stereotypically like in California, blonde hair. Ooh, Ty's with us. Cliff's with us. Awesome. Welcome, Cliff. I'm going to tell a story, and then I want you to jump in on the thing that we were talking about before. So the trainer.
What's up, Gus?
What's up, Cliff, my man?
Hey, Cliff.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. How about you?
Really
Doing well.
I don't know how long we're going to be here for. I think I'd said before, until my pillow turns into a magnet for my head and it just like steals me. I'm not tired, so I'm not ready. So yeah, so the trainer comes into this leadership workshop. There's like 20 of us. He says, who's getting upset about puka shells? Everyone's like, what are they? And like, why would we be upset about a necklace? And then someone raises their hand and says, I got upset about puka shells. And we're like, what? And what they say is, my wife has been remarried to me, and they had a previous husband. And my
yeah, you see it.
wife has a puka shell necklace hanging up in her bedroom, that was given to her from her previous husband. And we're like, oh, all right, it's a little weird or something. But the fact is that the upset is kind of about the puka shells. It's about this silly little necklace. But what was really clear to everybody in the room the moment that they said that was, behind it all is underlying commitment that they have a relationship that's working and that they're committed to each other. And I think it was really obvious for everyone to see that it was so much more than the puka shells. It was something behind that. It was something deeper, more committed. That was the root cause of someone having this silly kind of upset. So I don't know, Master, if that helps at all, but if you can try to look deeper at where maybe your parents are coming from, that they're upset about things, it could help. I don't know. So Cliff, I guess the question I'll send over to you is, and I don't know if you saw what Sleep Master was talking about at all, but what kind of challenges have you gone through, if you can, I guess you could say, with family? What have been some things that have sort of gotten you through it? What are some strategies you use to get through it?
The biggest part for me is my family was really supportive. We had some family in California that wasn't as supportive, and my mom and dad ended up moving me out at a very young age because they knew that it was a very toxic environment. And so I've been very blessed with that situation. I do want to kind of speak on one thing that did kind of shake my family a little bit was they found out my sister was a lesbian, and it was hard for them at first because it was something that was so different. But I'm a big believer that love can beat anything. The thing is, when you're seeing something from a different point of view and a different frame set, it's gonna shake you no matter what it is. And sometimes you have to respect those boundaries and give them time to process it. And I think after the processing phase, love wins out every single time. I'm a big believer in that. So I don't know exactly what's going on with Sleep Master. I wish him the best on the situation that he has, but just know whatever it is, true lovingness is always gonna beat it out. It might take a little bit of time, but if you believe in your parents and your parents do believe in you, they just gonna see the world a little bit differently. That's just the way we just different. Sometimes we don't see things eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we come together and we actually get stronger from those difficult times and situations if we allow ourselves to.
So it almost sounds like you were to sort of loving the crap out of your parents, and even if it might seem like they're not accepting, they're not loving you, love them. I think maybe they'll start to return and they'll see that you're not doing this to be spiteful. You're just trying to be yourself. And
absolutely,
the reason that you've shared it at all.
Yeah, I'd say even yeah, I wish him the very best of luck. I know he's going to get through this, and there's just going to be more challenges, and he'll get through those as well. It's all about perception, though. If you have the perception that things are going to work out some way, somehow, they always end up doing it.
Absolutely.
So another idea that I sort of had in mind when I was first starting this one out. So some of the people I've been working with recently talking a lot about anxieties. And Ty, I want to point out one thing. I don't know if you saw it in the chat, but where is it? So, if you all the way up, I don't know what time it happened at, but from Mommy's Life. Mommy's Life says, "Hi, just want to say I watched your anxiety video. It helped me so much. I'm still trying to figure things out, but your input helped me so much. Thanks."
Nice. That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome to hear.
So
I'm glad my short message could help you out a little.
Hey, buddy.
One thing that I'm loving right now is hearing little babies in the background because I get so much joy out of just hearing little children like being themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having a blast slamming on the couch right now.
So I guess the question that I would want to come to, one, because I'm not tired and I don't feel like ending the stream yet. What are some anxieties or sort of mental difficulties? Maybe not like concrete challenges that we've been talking about, but what have been some anxieties?
It's gonna hurt. Stop.
And what is some of like the positive self-talk that you guys to get past?
Oh.
So I'll go first because I have to get off in a few minutes. But something that I do when I experience anxiety is I think that I've reprogrammed my mind so well over the past few years that it's sort of like my thinking is different now. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. It's sort of like those worrying thoughts in the back of my mind are battling with empowering thoughts that are coming to take over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I've done so much mind building that the overarching thoughts and the overwhelming thoughts that are within my mind now are empowering ones. Whereas where I do get anxiety, I know I'm aware of what's happening. I know that it's just my thinking. It could be my assuming, my overthinking, and I know how to combat that. So I think for me,
when did you start getting really good at like that positive self-talk mindset?
When I built the awareness. In order to build anything, you have to become aware of it. If you lack confidence but you don't know why, or you don't know you're lacking confidence, then you're not going to be able to build on that. If you're weak in a certain area, like let's put it in business terms, you're weak at selling, but you continue to sell and you're not making any sales, or you're weak at marketing and you keep doing the same marketing strategy over and over and you don't realize it's not effective, then you're not going to change. So in order to change, you need to become aware of what's happening. And I was aware, once I became aware of what was going on in my mind, once I became aware of my anxieties, I understood how to take advantage of that and change it. And something that helps me become extremely aware is meditation. My meditating has helped me become it's like a superpower. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like everyone has a superpower of awareness. You just need to find some way to unlock it.
Well, so it sounds like the most actionable step we can do is probably to meditate. What was one of the first practices you did with meditation? Did you do guided ones or just like find out what it was and try to do it?
Yep. The first time when I started meditating was through guided meditations off of YouTube. But believe it or not, we meditate on a regular basis. When we're eating, or this might not be healthy meditation, but when you're watching TV or you're watching Netflix, that's when you're completely tuned into something is when you're meditating. If you're doing something you're passionate about, like say Cliff, when you're in a fight, or when I'm playing basketball, or Zach, when you're doing something with your wife, something spontaneous with your wife.
Yeah.
You know, or Michael, when you are, I don't know, when you're learning Japanese and you're getting ready to go speak to these kids to teach them English, when you are in absolute awareness and it feels like time isn't even a thing, that is when you're meditating, is when you're completely in tuned into what you're doing in the moment. You see how you guys are listening to me right now and there's nothing else in the background that you're paying attention to, probably besides your kid, Cliff. but that is meditation, because we are so in tune to this conversation. Everything around me doesn't matter. I'm so aware of what is happening right now. It's sort of like a meditative feeling. You know what I mean? You go for a walk, you go into the water. Zach, you went out this morning, right? At 4:30?
Yeah.
And you just did your journaling. Believe it or not, you were meditating. You were so in tuned into what you were doing.
Yeah, I think the other
doing some sort of meditation.
The other word I think that a lot of people use to describe what you're talking about is being in a state of flow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hey man, I give 100% credit to exactly that, for getting, I have to say, at least getting rid of 90% of my anxiety.
Well, there you have it, folks. Meditation.
Yeah.
Mike or Cliff, you guys can go next. I'll let you go.
Okay. Oh, for me, just building off what you were talking about, flow. So in regards to dealing with anxiety or anything that's negative, I always start my day off with positive messages. And there's a lot of content out there, and YouTube is the best. I mean, you guys have great content, and I can't even imagine where to start. So that's the first place. That's the first thing I start out with, just positive messages, internalizing it, and using it, to my advantage as I go through my day. And I always like to look at great figures. In my YouTube videos, I talk about Miyamoto Musashi. I'm also reading about Bruce Lee. And it's interesting how you talk about flow, because he talks about, flowing with like water.
Yes.
His quote, water doesn't crash. And, I was just doing my own meditation when I was brushing my teeth and turning on the faucet. And I said, oh man, water, just looking at water, it's so fluid, and to have a mindset to flow like water, it's it it clicks. And you see water physically when you punch it. Water doesn't get hurt. It goes through cracks. If you put it on the floor, it just just looking at it and then putting it into my life, which is in any uncomfortable situation, just go into it. So a few examples that I do is, if you didn't know, I took some Muay Thai classes, and sometimes I'd get intimidated by other people. But once I, and how good they were, but once I just said, let me just do my best, get into it, channel my being, my whole self into what I'm doing, and no matter what happens, I'll learn from it. And it's been a great experience these past few weeks, just developing discipline, getting that mentality to flow into the activity, the punches, the mindset of of Muay Thai. And that goes into anything that we do, like Ty said, just to once you're in that flow state, anxiety isn't even a question. It's just, it's you and the moment. So I do my best to live my life like that, always be in the moment. I'm here with you guys right now talking, and there's nothing else for me to worry about, because this is where I need to be. This is where I'm at. So that's the kind of mentality that I do my best to be in at all times, staying in the present.
Awesome.
I love it. Awareness.
Cliff, I know I muted you, but do I need to unmute you as well?
Yeah.
I thought I had undid it. There
I think I'm good now. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So this is an interesting question to me because it is very multifaceted. Largely put, what people need to do is take a task consistently, build on those tasks, and then challenge yourself on the task. If you're looking to bench press 500 pounds and you've never benched a day in your life, you probably don't want 500 pounds over you. So you're going to build a base. And when you build that base, then you challenge yourself to see if you can surpass the base. And being in a flow state is fine and dandy to say, oh, well, I'm at peace. I'm being around kind people, but you're not always going to be around kind people. You know what I mean? You're going to be around people who don't like you. It's always going to happen. And that's why it starts within, not without. I think too often people look outside and say, if I can just change the world, everything will be good. But you change the world by changing yourself. And when you focus on when you focus on self-worth and understand your strengths and understand your weaknesses, just as Ty said, you can't go into the gym without a game plan and expect to have any changes. You'd be like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go over here and try this, and then I'm gonna. Well, what's the goal? What's the plan? I'm just gonna do things and see how it works out. It's not gonna work out for you. But when you do things that are consistently testing those anxieties and understanding your anxieties, take the time to understand what makes you anxious. Ask yourself, how can you improve on your anxiety? Clearly, perception is a very important key to that. When you can perceive it differently and see an anxiety as a strength, it's a great way to go. But you don't want to go into a place where your anxiety is through the roof at 100% because you're just going to fail and you're going to feel bad about yourself. You have to test it, slowly test it. And the only person that you are competing with is yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. I think that's one of the biggest problems that people have is they're always looking out somewhere else like, well, this person's doing this person's doing this. I became a professional fighter. The first time I got in a cage, I sucked. I was terrible. I didn't know how to fight. And I wouldn't have challenged like a Mike Tyson and just been like, because I probably would have never done it again. All my ribs would have been broken and it would have just been like, this sucks. But what I did is I just focused on myself and I did it day in and day out. I worked on my skills. I worked on my crafts. I worked on what I needed to improve on. I looked within. When people start doing that, they're going to see the greatness that they really have and they're going to multiply their skill sets. The landmark form, one of the best forms that I could ever think of. Yeah, absolutely. And it really teaches people to look within because all of these little problems that you have, they're not going to change until you look at your own personal demons and say, I have to challenge these things. And when I challenge these things, I'm going to be better challenge them. And every time I beat them, I'm going to be a little bit stronger. I'm going to be a little more calloused and I'm going to be a little bit tougher than the last time. And I'm going to continue to grow, to continue to improve. I was talking to Jimma this morning a little bit and I said, largely put, you always are looking to be a better version of you. I don't want the 37-year-old version of me to be a better version of me than the 47-year-old version. And the 57-year-old version should be an even better version than the 47-year-old version. That's the beauty of the journey. That's the beauty of life. And I say I stand up for people until they can stand up for themselves. Because too often people get judgmental and say, well, since I'm better than you, no, are you better than anybody? You're really not. You're just different. You know what I mean? You're just different and you're tailoring your craft and you're building your strengths. We have car insurance. We have house insurance. We don't have people insurance. We don't invest in ourselves enough. We don't take the time to truly invest in ourselves. We focus on investing on everything else, but what you can do is unstoppable. You can always, when you realize that and you start moving in the direction that you have to move into and plan correctly, take the time to plan your life out. Just take the time to plan your life out and everything else is going to work itself out. Educate yourself. continually educate yourself and challenge yourself. It has to be 50% education and 50% action. Put them together and watch what happens. Great things are going to happen every single time.
100% success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You should make that into a quote.
I should. Make a.
I wanted to. So Gemma's brought up something, and Michaela has sort of helped to. So she was pointing out that people with disabilities can have different kind of anxieties. Now, do any of you guys have a general anxiety disorder? I think that's general. Yeah.
General anxiety.
Exactly.
I think everyone has general anxiety, but I mean, like,
I don't know much about I don't know much about disorders.
no, I don't. Disorder is, I think that's a little beyond my knowledge. That's a little beyond my area. But I mean, having general anxiety, I think everyone has worries.
And Michaela's saying, so I had asked in the chat, what's the main difference between like anxiety disorder versus sort of regular anxiety that most humans have? And interrupts daily functioning. So I'm guessing that it's more like daily.
Say it again, Zach. It's more what?
It sounds like it's a lot more disruptive to like daily living than probably the anxieties of the majority of people.
Mm.
Oh, and Michaela's saying like, oh, and leaving the house can be difficult. Yeah. Flight or fight. So I guess in terms of talking about that kind of anxiety, I don't have much of a solution. I know that I think meditation, no matter what it is, because it's still training your brain. And I think, I mean, a disorder, usually disorders that the chemicals in your brain are acting differently than the majority. So
That's all I hear when I read them. But
I think
I had a client. I did have a client who had something similar to that. This is what makes this really tricky, though, because you have to ask yourself the question: are they having it because because of causation, or do they have it because there's an actual genetic issue? Like they were genetically born that way. It's hard to answer that question, and I don't think science has really truly completely opened up Pandora's box to answer it either. You look at like a client who is highly obese, and you look at the enzymes in their stomach, they're not functioning properly. Body's just, their hormones are actually off as well. And a person can look at them and say, oh, this is why you are heavy because of this. But it was the getting heavy that caused it, not they were born this way so they got heavy. So that's an interesting one. I would definitely, is she seeing professional help by chance?
I don't know, Gemma. Well, I don't think she's ever talked about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I would agree with Cliff. Like it gets really tricky there because I'll point it out. Like you get the people who say they have a disorder, but that's just their excuse for being lazy to not fix what's happening to them. But then you have people who are genuine.
One thing I want to say too is like we're not calling out anyone in here. So when we're talking about, I think there are people that probably use that, and I have no idea who they are, but I could imagine people definitely abuse it, and I know there's definitely people that do suffer from that.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh, well, I was gonna say that then you have people who like are genuinely dealing with this, and it's like they can't do anything about it. This is, in my opinion, I think this is due to conditioning and due to environment or due to an event. And there are certain cases where it can be due to your genes from your history. So all those factors go into play. And one main factor is environment and conditioning. Where you are living, what your environment affects you, and what you're as a young person, and what you're being conditioned as whatever age you are in life right now. So those two things have a major impact, and then in certain cases, genes have a really big impact. So I agree with Cliff that it gets really tricky when you get to that point.
Yeah.
I
wanted to, and this is a totally different subject, but I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to Quentin in the chat. He's been dropping rhymes here and there in the chat, and he just sent me the entire rap that he created, and I said that I would read it out loud. So it looks as if I'm going to be talking about myself in third person, but I just wanted to honor him by doing what I said I would do. So it says, and sorry if anyone got whiplash on the switching subject there. We'll come back to it in a second, but I just wanted to give him. He's been asking me for some time now. Written for Mr. Watson, a good teacher, a better mentor. Mr. Watson, students call him Tom. Yeah, it's a little odd. He likes to play the video game COD, but stay after school. You'll find out he's pretty cool. He will teach you his life rules. He's a life preacher, a math teacher. He helps everyone he can. Yeah, you can call him Superman. He spends hours on the lesson plan. He makes raps. Watch them on YouTube app. They will make your hands clap, clap, clap. Yeah, I'm pretty tall. Go check out my thank wall. Students can say anything at all. Yeah, go subscribe to Think Shit. So Quinn, thank you for writing that. That was fun.
That was pretty cool.
That was good. Respect.
So Gemma, I know that you have we're not talking about the same anxieties that you are, and I think that pretty much all the wisdom that these guys have just talked about in the past minutes, I think all of it is applicable. It might not have nearly the same impact.
David, can you call my phone?
Like if you have.
Thank you.
If you have a lot of like say you have like chronic head pain, I'm sure you can still take ibuprofen and it'll make a minuscule difference. It's not going to make the difference that you need to really overcome it. But I think any of these things I'm sure could help him, and it could be just ibuprofen to chronic head pain. So that I acknowledge that it is different kind of anxiety. So, and I don't want to say that we have answers for that. None of us here are doctors or clinical.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Oh, all right. Well put, Gemma.
All right, Zach, I gotta get going because I gotta wake up early. Gotta work tomorrow. So.
Okay.
But thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on. This is awesome.
Of course. It was nice seeing you, Michael. It was nice seeing you, Cliff.
Hey, have a good one, brother.
Have a good one.
Oh, I'll talk to you about the shirts too when I get a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep in contact. I definitely want to see what we can do about that.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Good night. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care,
Good
brother.
night. Take care.
Mike and Cliff, One other thing. So a question that was brought up in the chat, and I'm guessing by the sounds of it, it sounds like I've heard of this organization of, I don't know if it's an organization or movement or what it is, but I think it's called MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way. And Chronicles of AJ's asked a couple questions saying, first, it sounded like a jab at gold diggers in general, to which I sort of responded. But they said, would you recommend people get married in 2018? And Mike, I'm assuming you're not married. Cliff,
Actually,
do you guys want to weigh on that question?
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have a different perspective. Because I'm recently divorced, so I could. And the MGTOW, it's interesting because I was actually looking up videos on Miyamoto Musashi, and I saw this YouTuber talk about Musashi, and it was well done. 20-minute video about his story. And if you guys don't know what MGTOW is, it's men going their own way. That's the movement. They believe in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, men who are not into serious relationships or getting married, just kind of developing themselves their own way. And I wouldn't say shunning women, but not associating themselves with women. And to answer your question, is it okay or to get married in 2018?
I think the question was, would we recommend it?
Oh, would they recommend it? I'll answer it with, it depends. Because marriage, it's something that's, to me, it's a serious commitment. Something that has to be, you'd have to know yourself completely first, and then also know the other person as well. And when you're married, once you're married and you decide to get married, it's a team effort. It's gonna be, there's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be ups and downs. So definitely, if you're willing to put yourself into the mindset of that, working together, going into conflict, then yeah, the marriage. And if you do want to be with the other person, then it's okay. But also know that who you are now and who your significant other is will not be the same 5 years later, 10 years later. Everyone grows and develops however they can, whether positively or negatively. So hopefully when you're both married and going through marriage, it's a positive development. But always address any negativity, any conflicts, because if those are not addressed at the moment, then go up 5 years later. And I think that's why divorce rates are high, because there's things that wasn't addressed in the beginning. That's why you gotta know yourself. If there's any insecurities, put them out into the table before you get married.
Right.
So I support, actually, after some time I realized that, it's okay to, marriage, it's something that I find positive and good. It's just also know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
So yeah,
I think that if someone is looking for a partner to like someone who really feel is going to be a partner, they have the same goals, they want to have, they do or they don't both want to have children. I think marriage is an opportunity to legally bind the two of you financially, through insurance, through taxes. The advantage is when you have someone that's committed their lives to you. I've had this experience of sort of like an underlying confidence about
Go put your toys
sort
in.
of like,
Put all of them in
I
there.
describe it like my standing in the world or something. There have been a lot of moments where me and my wife have had challenges, and
Be nice, please.
we've questioned things here and there, and I don't think any. I think the perfect marriage is never gonna look like what we think perfection should be. But I think that if you're willing to communicate and willing to be aware of like when you're sort of falling out of love, realizing that there are problems that are occurring, we need to communicate better, and maybe a willingness to go to counseling or to try to figure out how to work together to reach a common goal of building a family or create goals together. I think if you have it in you to do those things, I think marriage is a good idea. I think for people that are weak with their word, that are not willing to go to great lengths to honor their word, I think that marriage are not for those people. And I think that people that end up in divorce, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's simply they promised something and life circumstances changed, and they saw that a different future would likely be better for one or both of them.
Right. No, I agree. And I've seen both sides. The marriage. I could see both sides. Marriage is good and marriage could be bad. But at this point, I still think it's a positive thing to find love. It's like finding you find a partner, and like I always say, it's always best to work in partners or as teams. So finding that person who's willing to be with you for the rest of your life, that's something that I'd like to find again. So for me, it's something that I find very, I still support marriage.
And I don't know a ton about the MGTOW group of people. From what I've seen in like small observations that I've had of them, is it almost seems like men that are sort of frustrated with the general population of women as a whole gender, which seems to me like a bit of a generalization. But I mean, I guess if you were so disenchanted with some experiences with the opposite sex that you had tried to have long-term relationships with, I mean, I could see where you could become a type of person that can't see themselves loving another person enough because you've been in your own, from your own perspective, burned. So I'm not going to discredit the people in that community, and at the same time, I think that they've gone through some trauma in life that they haven't fully addressed.
Yeah, I agree. I think many of them who are in MGTOW experience some kind of trauma or rejection, something that hurt them.
You can't take that out.
With women. But one thing I'd like to caution is that moving forward, I mean, if that's the path you choose, the MGTOW path, everyone is free to make a decision. But also keep an open mind, because we're still in a world where there's still male and female. I don't think it's wise to shun women or to keep them at arm's length if we're still living with them. Just it's good to still be able to interact with women, be respectful.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd want to caution to those who are looking to MGTOW. Just do your research and be realistic about where we're at in the world today.
Why don't we hand it over? What are your thoughts? The original question was,
Yeah, that's a real impossible question to answer because each individual has their own reality. So I did do a little bit of research on the MGTOW community. I don't agree with them because that's my opinion. But if their opinion is that opinion, it's not my place to say that it's incorrect. It's correct for them at that moment. If you are going to get married, it is definitely a commitment. There are difficulties to it, and there's also great things behind it as well. But you have to Like, I actually got engaged to my wife after 3 months of going out with her, and we've been married for 11 years. But I researched the hell out of marriage before I got married. I asked the question, why do people cheat? Why do people do the things that they do? Why do people get divorced? Because I wanted to know what I was getting into before I got into it. And so someday, in 3 months, you propose, why would you do something like that? Well, I was looking at the long term. We've been married for 11 years now. And I did see the long term. I don't think people play the long game a lot of the times. I think they look for that short game.
Yeah.
And when that happy go lucky fairy tale is done and reality starts setting in again, they're like, oh crap, this kind of sucks. Like, I didn't see all these bad things that she did. Like, men and women, we're built differently and we think differently. Again, that is a generalized statement. I do know some people might say women think more, oh, I think more like a man and I'm a woman. That's a possibility, and vice versa. But on a generalized statement, the Mars and Venus thing, there is truth to that. And learning to work with that, if you're willing to do it, go for it. If you're not willing to do it, it's probably not for you. But should I get married in 2018? Is like play tennis in 2018. Like, well, do you like tennis?
Sure.
I actually do like tennis. Well, then go ahead and play it.
Yeah. Well put. Well, I think, yeah, and
Well said.
I thought they had a funny comment to start with. Their first question was like, where is it? It was like, how do I protect my wallet from women? So it definitely sounds like an individual that has been financially traumatized by
Yeah.
one.
If you're looking for the bad in people, you're gonna find it every time,
Yeah.
guaranteed. Like, I'll say this right now. I have a bad side. We all have a bad side. And I try and train myself to always rise above that side of me.
Yeah.
I don't overindulge in alcohol. I don't go out late at night. There's just certain things that I do not do because I want to take care of my temple correctly. But if I was doing all of those things, if I was drinking on a regular basis, I just wouldn't be the same person anymore. I just wouldn't. We are nothing more than our habits. So the habits that we create is what we kind of become. And if an individual is seeing only your bad habits, you're probably only going to show your bad habits to that individual.
Yeah.
If a person constantly tells you you're a jerk, I think you're a jerk. You're a jerk. Why do you think I'm not a jerk? And then you start becoming a jerk.
Yeah.
Because they've always brought that out. I haven't met a person that I haven't liked because I'm looking for the positives in them, not the negatives. You look at the positive. When a person's feeling good about themselves, when they're feeling really good about themselves, watch what they can do. They do amazing things. But when they're feeling like crap, well, yeah, they're feeling like crap. So,
Yeah.
and look at, I say for people to look at the good in people. I would love to speak to some of these people in the MGTOW community just because I would like them to just see a different side. Even if it's for a second.
Definitely.
I would like to see them see a different side, and I might even see a different side from their perspective. We might both grow from each other, and that could be great.
Yeah. That might be a fun debate to set up on one of our channels is a debate.
Yeah, I would enjoy it.
MGTOW advocate.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Your profile is loading.
I feel like that would definitely be entertaining for a solid audience.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Oh,
kind of-
yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Because all I want to do is make people see things in the simplest way possible.
Go pick up
And
the
I
phone.
think when we really break things down, we're all a lot more the same than we realize.
Yeah.
And we all have our unique skill sets. We all have different unique skill sets, but in a lot of ways, we all do want the same thing. Like, do you want to be loved? I do want to be loved. Do you want to stand out in the world? I do want to stand out in the world. I do want to be considered special. Like, okay, so we all want to do those things. And that's why, like, I haven't met a person I haven't liked because I'm going to find something that is relatable to both of us. And then we can talk about what's relatable. Everybody's got something relatable together. I haven't met a person who's completely unrelatable. Even a teenager, they're a little bit harder sometimes, but even them, like, you take the time to empathize, get to know someone, and you'd be surprised what types of knowledge they would actually have, and we just grow together. That's what it's about, is just growing together. And as I talk about it, like, yeah, being married is awesome to me. That's because I had to grow with my wife. I didn't say it was easy. I said it was awesome. So it's like, yeah, there's going to be tough times,
Yeah.
but you appreciate the tough times, and they help you respect the really, really good times.
Yeah. Any worthy cause is gonna have pain and challenge in it. So
Yeah. Oh, also, Zach. So when I read your book, and you talk
yeah.
about you and your wife and the challenges you guys would go through, and how you guys would call each other on certain things,
Yeah.
like, that's what it's about. It's just like, I think too often people want to pretend like it's not there,
Mhm.
and it's there. You're just sweeping it under the rug, and it's going to be really bad really fast. But
Yeah.
if you always clean underneath that rug, good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think you guys really did it right, and I love the fact that you put it in your book, because you just give the time to educate people on something like that.
Right.
Thank you. All right. Well, Quentin in the chat here has pointed out that it's probably past my bedtime. It's 1 a.m. Eastern here. I got to be, well, I don't have to be up super early, but I think I'm gonna try waking with the sun again tomorrow. I'm gonna have to wake up a little after the sun. So, any closing thoughts that you guys wanted to end on tonight?
Uh, anything, Clifford?
Keep being great, guys. That's all it's about. Just find your greatness. Just like my channel says, be the best you that you can be.
Awesome.
Yeah, everyone, do your best. You know, your life, it's a progression, you know. So keep it up, keep doing your best, and live life to the fullest.
And do you guys both know how I end my videos?
Stay weird, humans.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah,
Quentin just put in $2 into the super chat. Quentin, thank you.
Ooh, nice.
oh,
That's
nice.
he was one of my students last year. Thank you so much, dude.
That's cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Drop your links before you leave. Drop your links before you leave. Oh, yeah. I think you guys are both moderators. Do you have access to the chat? You can put your. Or I'll just put your channels into the chat here. Hold on a second. All right, I go. Thank you for whoever just said that. Thank Chase. Thank you for pointing out. So that's Lavore right there. I just put in there, and then Cliff, Mr. Clifford. If you search Clifford Starks, he's the first one that comes up. All right, and Cliff is in the. I just put him in the chat as well. So if you guys want to check out these two guys, they're also YouTubers. They also, I mean, you can kind of tell just based on what we're talking about that they're two similar YouTubers to me, to Ty. Talk about a lot of the same sort of success, habitual positivity, self-guided, meditating, you know, working on becoming the best versions of ourselves. We're all about that. And I think if you're on this channel often, I think you'll see more of these two guys as well. So thank you all for being here. I don't, how long have we been going for? Like what, 2 hours? something like that.
You guys have been going for a while because I
Yeah.
had to go to the shop. That's on at first.
Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been going for. So, thank you all for staying along. I don't know how many people have had on. There's still 4 people right now, but what was I going to say? Yeah, if you like this, give it a like. If you dislike this, give it a dislike. If you think someone would benefit from it, share with them. For the MGTOW community, feel free to reach out to us if you want to have a fun, entertaining debate. I don't know if I'd be ready to have one on my channel, but Cliff sounded like he might be able to.
Oh yeah, Cliff.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're having fun. I don't want it to be like, no, women suck everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for it either, just because it sounds like there could be a lot of negative energy coming my way, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to manage that.
Right. Same here.
Yeah. So I guess we'll all consider it. Maybe we'll find somebody that doesn't care about like having a crazy chat or something, or being really entertaining or something. I don't know. Yeah, get at us for the fun of it. So thank you all. And lastly, Cliff Mike, say it.
Stay weird, humans.
Stay weird, humans.
Later. Yeet.
Good.